What is going on, guys? It's John here with Option Lab. In this video, I'm going to cover my $14,000 profit week this past week, and I'm going to break down the very simple to understand 3-step option selling strategy that led to these results. And no matter your account size, I'm actually going to show you a variation of these strategies that require a little more capital. I'm going to show you a variation that's going to be very small account friendly and easy for you guys to implement this upcoming week. If you guys are not familiar with who I am, my name is John. I specialize in option selling strategies. I run the best community, Option Lab. I did over $2 million in profit in 2024 alone, and you can actually download my 1099 in the description. So I post all my results live. I track them all live. You can see all the trades in 2024. A bunch of those I talk about on the channel. So if that's helpful for you guys, you can download it below. But anyway, before we get into the whiteboard, I just want to cover a few of the benefits of this strategy. So if you guys are working a job or you don't have a lot of time to sit around staring at charts, pretending like you know where the stock is going to go, and you don't even want to bet direction, these option selling strategies are going to be for you. They require almost little to no time per week. It's as simple as creating a watch list, monitoring those stocks for the right moves, and then executing on the 3 steps that I'm about to explain. So hang in there for this video. This one's gonna be very useful. I'm showing you in real time the trades that actually led to this result. So stick till the end, and I promise you'll leave this video feeling confident to implement it in your own account. All right, see you on the whiteboard. Yo guys, we are live on the whiteboard here, and I'm gonna show you guys exactly how I made a roughly $14,000 in profit this week with an option strategy called the wheel. So before we actually go into this, let's simply cover what is the wheel. So the wheel consists of a few basic steps. So if you guys are experienced, you can skip through this, but if you're new, I'm going to make this very simple. So let's say we have a stock that looks like this, and the stock is trading at 100. The first step of the wheel is going to be selling an out of the money put. So we're going to sell to open an out of the money put, let's say the 90 put. And for doing so, we're going to collect a premium. And as long as that stock stays above our 90 put strike price by expiration, we keep that premium and nothing happens. Now, if the stock drops below our strike price at 90 by expiration, we get assigned 100 shares of the stock at 90. Now that we own 100 shares at 90, we can then actually sell covered calls at, say, 105. So once we own those shares at 90 from when the stock dropped below our strike price by expiration, we now own shares that we can sell covered calls on. Once those covered calls take away our stock, in other words, once the stock goes above our covered call strike price, we then lose the stock and we keep both premiums, and we do this cycle again. So that's the wheel. Now, if you are totally new to this and you have no idea what the hell I just said, you can download my option selling cheat sheet. Or if you guys do need help actually implementing this strategy into your own account, I run the Option Lab. You can actually book a 30-minute call with me in the description. I talked to probably 10, 15 of you guys this week. It's been super helpful. So let's actually go into the exact trades that led to the $14,000 week. So first things first, I broke them down into both cash secured puts and covered calls. So let's go into the cash secured puts first. So you can see here, I only had 3 this week in this account, which was RH, Costco, and Upstart. So how did I actually decide how to find these trades? So let's actually go into the criteria. So the criteria for, I'll write here, CSPs, which are cash secured puts. The criteria is as follows. Finding a stock that I like that's down or has some sort of volatility inducing event. So for example, RH had earnings, Costco's been down, and Upstart just had a really bloody week. So what I'm doing is once I find stocks that fit that criteria, I'm selling to open the 20 to 30 delta strike puts. That means there's a 70+% probability that the stock stays above my strike price by expiration. As you can see here, all of these stocks that are on this list either had news, an earnings report, or high implied volatility. As we know, when implied volatility is higher, option premium is higher, so it's better to be a net seller. Lastly, I'm trading 7 to 14 days till expiration because these are names, specifically Upstart, that I don't want to have a very long-term exposure to. So very simple, found some stocks that I don't mind owning at these discounted prices. I'm monitored for when they're down a lot, and then I'm selling puts even further below where they already are. In the event that I then get assigned, I own them at a steep discount, and in the meantime, while I wait, I'm getting paid a premium. Simple enough. Next is going to be the covered calls. So as you can see here, I had 3 on UNH. Now, how did I actually get UNH, you might ask, or the shares to write those covered calls? Well, if you see here, like I said, when I explained the wheel strategy, UNH had a precipitous drop recently where I got assigned the stock. So for example, let's say here I sold to open the UNH puts at, let's say, 375. I don't know exactly what my cost basis is at the moment, but let's say that I got assigned the stock somewhere around 375. Well, now I own those shares at 375 because my put got assigned, and now the stock is below where I own the shares at. So what I'm doing is, as it's creeping back up, I'm selling covered calls to try to collect some premium as I wait for that stock to come back up. So this one is actually, been a position I'm holding for a little bit of time because the stock has just dropped so much. But as you can see here, I'm collecting some nice premium in the meantime while I wait for it to recover. Next was Tesla. These are shares that I own. See here, quick $800 on that, same deal. And then Lilly, same thing. These are all stocks that have pretty high volatility that I was originally assigned on from a cash secured put, which I'm now writing covered calls on. Now we can go into the criteria of selling covered calls and, how we actually pick the strike prices. So I typically sell covered calls 1 to 2 strike prices above where I was assigned shares from step 1 of the wheel. So for example, if I were to get assigned RH here at 190 and I own shares at 190, I would then sell, for example, the 195 strike price because I want to make the 5 points plus, earn the premium from the covered call. And I do this until I lose the shares. And then once I lose the shares, I sell more cash secured puts. So how do I actually make this more small account friendly? So let's go into that. Let me just erase this really quick. And let's use RH as an example. So RH has an upcoming earnings, so the implied volatility is going to be very high, and you can get pretty good premium pretty far out of the money. So what I'm doing is I'm going to draw it here, and I'm going to show you how you can do this. So let's say RH right now is trading at, let's just say for sake of example here, 200. So instead of just selling to open, like I did, the 190 put, what you can do is, so this would require right here, if the stock dropped below, I would have to buy 100 shares at 190. Now, if I have a small account, that's not going to work so well. So what I can do is I can make this into what's called a bull put credit spread by buying a put below this. So say the 185 put. This is going to create a defined risk, defined reward trade that is requiring literally 1,000 times less capital and is going to be far safer because it's defined risk, defined reward. That's still going to create a net credit situation where the only criteria for profit is that it stays above my strike price here, which is the sell leg at 190. And if it drops below both, I just take a far smaller loss than I would have had I eliminated this buy leg. So again, if this is all gibberish, I know that sounds like a lot. You can download my option selling cheat sheet or talk to me one-on-one. But anyway, if this extra piece here, notice that I'm going to sell cash secured puts on down industries on down days, then the reverse for covered calls. So what I'm looking at is I'm looking at stocks I like that I wouldn't mind owning. For example, Costco in this case, where it's just been dropping pretty consistently day by day. So what I'm doing is I'm putting out these fishing orders where I fill this out of the money put, and if it were to drop to 945, I don't mind owning the stock at that price. So anyway, if that was helpful for you guys, leave a like, drop a comment if you have any questions.